That's good, but I could top it. Put an axe up to his head, and then he chopped it. Bloodshot out in every direction. The rest didn't know what to do. I made suggestions. Put a slug in your mug, overdose on a drug. Wet your hands, stick a knife in the plug. Or play like Richard Pryor, set your balls on fire. Better yet, go hang yourself with a barbed wire. 3 and 4 fell deep into the spell land. Ran to the zoo, locked themselves in the lion's den. Number 5 said it ain't worth being alive. Smoked the dust swain, mixed it with cyanide. The only one who escaped was number 6. He went home, sat in the tub and slit his wrist. Yeah, more graves to dig. Goodbye, there's no need to cry, cause we all die.
That was the Gravediggers 1-800-SUICIDE from the Tales from the Crypt movie soundtrack from the 90s. And the reason I'm playing that is I've been seeing all these TikToks of these like older millennials, and the joke is now that Slim Shady's come back out and his new song's offensive, air quotes, they're doing these videos where like introducing the Gen Z, the real Eminem, and they're pretending to be all, oh. I'm thinking, no, there's a hell of a lot worse songs out there than anything fucking Eminem ever did. To the point, if you listen to the Tales from the Crypt movie soundtrack on Spotify, that song has been removed. So that's how bad things could be. But what's going on, Morgan Long? Look at that. We went right into the show. What's up, OG5, without even saying a word to one another. We're just letting it rip, Tater Chip, going right to it. I got to say, these 7:30 shows are fucking rough. I'm used to coming home, eating, relaxing, chilling, and then starting at 9:30. No, I got home like at 5:30, 8, took like a 45-minute nap, got up, did some shit, literally, and then came in here, and away we go. So how you feeling, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Since we started the show on such a down note, I don't want to sound like a crazy conspiracist with my tinfoil hat and all that. But how old are you now?
I will be 53 next month.
Okay, let's learn from our elders here. When you're in your 40s, let's say between the ages of 43 and 46, how many of your 40-year-old contemporaries just up and died within a year, 2 years from each other? I'm not talking. Hold on. Let me. Not talking overdoses, car accidents, shootings, industrial accidents. I mean, just up and died.
Well, there were a few, and I'm of an age now where it's not uncommon to hear of my contemporaries not making it much past where I am.
I mean, I think by the age of 16, I'd already been to like 15 funerals and like a handful more kids my age. I've had friends shot and killed on OSU campus. I've had the drug overdoses, the car accidents, and just weird accidents, suicides, etc. But 2 years ago, as we've discussed in the show, my old roommate, actually not even a year ago, it's like last winter. I think it was last winter. I'd have to look at YouTube, see when I went fishing in Kentucky, because I went up to my old roommate's funeral. I was 45. He was 43. Went to bed. Never woke up. Not sure what the autopsy was. Just kind of crazy. Wasn't on drugs, anything like that. Like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe a month and a half later, guy I worked with Stan and Haney. Remember Hot Dog Chris? He worked there as an intern for a while. Before that, he would write in letters. He went to bed, never woke up again. He was an Iraq war vet, relatively good health, worked for the city of Marco Island. 3 days ago, guy who graduated the year before me, so I'm 46 now, but he's probably 46 too, because I got held back in first grade. He just up and died. They don't know what's wrong. I'm waiting for the autopsy report to come back. And I'm just thinking, like, doing the math, I'm thinking, and I don't, because it's been so politicized, the common question I want to ask all the family members, but I don't, especially the two that went to sleep and never woke up, I truly want to know if all of them got the jab or not. And the reason I bring that up is Jason died. Chris died. A month later, Stan had his heart attack. And then 2 months later, Haney had his stroke. I know Stan and Haney both had the jab. I can't confirm this, but Hot Dog Chris did work for the city of Market Island, so I can almost be assured that he got forced to get it. Whether or not Jason had it, I don't know. But it's like all these, and then strangely enough, the next guy who just passed away, his name was Jason, but I don't know. And then we have another common person who just had a death in their family. It's just like, what the hell is going on? But we don't know the details behind that one either. I don't know. I mean, yes, I'm getting older, but just, I can't remember when I was growing up. I don't remember my dad having 40-year-old contemporaries dying that regularly, with the exception of the occasional, heart attack or an embolism. But just the deaths that result in we're waiting on an autopsy because no one has the slightest idea what happened. That just to me seems weird.
Yeah. Well, being a little bit older, my grandparents were, the greatest generation.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather on my dad's side died of a massive heart attack at 52 in Portugal.
But that's explainable, though. But that's explainable. He died
absolutely.
Yeah.
He was a raging alcoholic and a chain smoker, and
Lucky Strikes only carry us so far.
So he was a door-to-door salesman after World War II and worked his way up through the company he worked for, and got to be a bigwig, a legend. Got a Lifetime Achievement Award, walked down off of the stage, died of a massive heart attack in front of everybody in the banquet hall.
Wow.
So, leave it to him to go out in epic fashion. But, so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that it's becoming less common to die early because of modern medicine or whatever.
Actually,
better eating, easier living.
I think probably not modern medicine so much as modern food, right? We are so poisoned by our food, and trust me, I need to lose 30 pounds, so I'm not like trying to get on like some dietitianal high horse, but I'm actually talking about the foods that we consume as, even if you're healthy. In the past, we've had Vinnie Torridge on the show. Vinny's been on Adam Carolla multiple times. Remember Margaret Cho, the comedian?
Yeah.
Remember she was a heavy-set Korean comedian, and then she lost all the weight?
Yeah.
Vinny's the reason she lost all the weight. Vinnie Torridge has been Howie Mandel's fitness guru for 30 years. He does fitness stuff. He's the creator of No Sugar, No Grains. He just put out his third documentary called Dirty Keto. It's out right now on Amazon. And I listen to his podcast, and because the reason he's so hardcore No Sugar, No Grains is 17 years ago he got diagnosed with cancer. So he was always, let me back up a little bit, he's always been a fitness expert. Does like triathlons, 700-mile bike rides, 300-mile canoe races, used to run, works out. He was a model at the age of 20. His wife's a Bond girl. Like literally, she played in a James Bond movie. She's an actress. So he got diagnosed with cancer, started doing some research, and they found out that cancer loves sugar. And so he, he's always a fitness guy, but he's cut out sugars and grains. It basically eats, proteins and vegetables. No grains whatsoever, no sugar. But you listen to his podcast, and one of his advertisers is a company called Villa Capelli Olive Oil. And the reason he uses this one particular olive oil, like he said, there's other olive oils out there too, but this is the one that he has vetted. Did you know in the United States, in order to sell 100% olive oil, it can be cut with 40% other seed oils and still have the label of 100% olive oil on it? Now, to be fair,
I did not know that.
Now, to be fair, as they're talking about on his podcast the other day, if every single olive oil company sold 100% olive oil, there wouldn't be enough olive trees in the world to fulfill the orders for 100% olive oil. But with that being said, they put on the label 100% olive oil when it's 40% flaxseed oil. And apparently when you take flaxseed,
time.
What's that?
It's a dad joke time.
Yeah.
Do you know where 100% virgin olive oil comes from?
What's that?
Really ugly olives.
That checks out. That checks out. Well, we won't get into the discussion of where rapeseed oil comes from. but to his point though, in other countries, they just wouldn't put 100% olive oil on there. I think I think like Mountain Dew is only illegal in like four or five countries throughout the nation. The deodorant I bought, it's Dawn deodorant, has aluminum in it. And on the can, it says only sold in America, I think Australia, and one other, and like Africa. It's illegal everywhere else because all the shit we have is just so riddled with stuff. So, I forget, they were talking about how we as Americans are so metabolically broken by all the foods we consume. You hear the puppy?
No.
Good. My microphone's doing a good job cutting out background noise. I got a beagle barking in the living room. I'm sure it'll bleed over a little bit. But anyhow, I don't even know how we got here, but I'm talking about how the foods are killing us. So even if you think you're going out and eating healthy foods, so much of our food, unless you're, just eating red meat all the time, even our vegetables have so much crap in it now. It's insane. And I get it. We had to mass produce a lot of our food in order to feed the large percentage of people we have, but some of it's just gone crazy. Like you hear these stories about what's in that Prime energy drink and all this other stuff. It's insane.
My wife has a gluten sensitivity, and if we lived in Europe, she wouldn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the grain that's there is not, GMO, not
bleached,
poisoned by Monsanto's,
And for those of you listening, saying, here they go talking about this, it's not conspiratorial shit. Okay, look at the United States. Look how fat we are. Now look at Italy. Italy's diet is primarily made up of fucking pasta. They live off of grains, but they have healthier grains, as all the stuff Morgan said. So you're like, well, how? Look at China. And a lot of the East Asian companies, they live off of rice, but they're not fat. Why? Because we bleach our rice out. Our rice is so completely bleached and blown out that, yes, white rice is technically bad for you. Anything white is bad for you. That's why if you're going to eat rice, eat a brown rice. It's just everything. So you can try your best. I'm not going to drink soda. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we've taken, all of our food and modified it, bastardized it, bleached it, cleaned it, stripped it of any nutrition. And, and then you even get into it. It's not quite so much anymore because fast food has gotten so expensive. But it used to be that it was cheaper to buy a fast food meal than it was to make a healthy meal at home.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention the fact that it's a lot easier to hit a drive-through and get, Big Macs for the kids and, not have to cook. But yeah, we're terrible. And here, I lead the charge.
And here's how crazy it is. After Vinny put out his second documentary talking about where he'd bring on experts, more than just him, he'd bring on all these experts. One of the experts he brought in, I think we brought this up on the show before, and I won't go down the rabbit hole, but Abrams, one of the Abrams brothers, the two brothers who wrote the movie Airplane, right? I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Zucker or Abrams?
Zucker.
One of the Zucker brothers, his son, like from the age of like 4 months, is having 5 to 6 seizures a day. And they tried, and this was in the 80s. This was in the 80s, and their doctors were trying all these different medications. Nothing worked. They literally wanted to give him something short of a lobotomy, like at 15 months. And he's like, no. So he was in D.C., he went to the medical library and found some books from like the 1800s and all the way like at the 1920s, 1930s. And prior to like the 1940s, 1950s, after we had the food pyramid and the government started sponsoring all these food programs, they fought that exact disease by feeding people raw red meat. So he took his 15-month-old baby, started pureeing raw red meat, feed it to him. It all went away. fed him like raw red meat for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. Fast forward now, the guy's like 56. He's a high school teacher. Hasn't had seizures in 43 years, 45 years. And so he started going around all these medical conferences, giving speeches, and all the doctors like, and Vinny's new documentary, he has Dr. Drew in there, and Dr. Drew goes down like all that 12 years he went to medical school and all this. Not one did they have one single class on diet. It's all about medicine. And so, and to what I bring that up is when Vinny put on his second documentary, all those sugar companies, the soda companies, all that. I don't know how that shit works in the background, but I was explaining how he is married to a Bond girl. She has done like 15, 20 movies. Prior to his second documentary and prior to him pissing off the crazy, the powers that be, he had his own Wikipedia page and he was linked on hers. He has been scrubbed from Wikipedia. He's been removed from his wife's link. So now you go to his wife, married to, gone. Like he's been completely scrubbed from fucking the internet because, he's saying all this because there's so many people, so much invested in sugars and all that shit. It's insane. It's crazy. But yeah, to that point.
I'm surprised they haven't scrubbed him from the earth.
Well, he's actually, after 15 years, he just started chemo again. But.
Oh, man.
15, they only gave him 4 years, 15 years ago. So he's on chemo and he's doing his thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm actively trying to lose weight. I'm trying to cut out all the shit, except for when I come home, I'll eat whatever the family has. But like, for example, today at work, got up this morning, had a black coffee, put CMT oil in it, had a bowl of mojo pork, just the pork, nothing else, that I had left over from a birthday party I went to Monday. And that's it. And more black coffee. I've and I go running. I think I've already ran, it's June 6th, 5th. I've already ran 15 miles this month. And like, I think I lost 3 pounds. That's it. I mean, it's so hard to lose the weight just because when the stuff we do eat is just so fucking polluted. Not to mention I'm getting older too. It's so fucking hard. And it's frustrating. But anyhow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a happier topic. Remember in 2008 when the housing market crashed? Actually, prior to 2008. Remember after
that's when I bought my house, actually.
Remember after 9/11 when the banks started to crash and they had that saying too big to fail? And the government had to bail out all the banks, had to bail out GM. They didn't bail out Ford.
Chrysler. Yeah.
Yep. Pontiac went away. They gave GM all that money and GM closed down half their Detroit plants and went to open up a brand new shiny factory in Mexico. Thanks for the American tax money. But too big to fail. Fast forward. It's hard to believe. Fast forward 19 years. The pandemic came around. Everybody's got to stay home. People can't pay the bills. Government said, well, we'll just send everybody $500. Maybe it was $1,000. I can't remember what it was. I think I only got $5. I think if you had kids, you got more. And a lot of the economists like, don't do it. Create hyperinflation. Don't do it. People need to pay their bills. How much of bills are you going to pay on $1,200? Not a lot. Maybe your cable bill and a cell phone bill. Maybe one mortgage payment. They printed up so much money that, well, they didn't actually print it. It was all digital. If it was physical money, I think they said it would have taken 33 years to print up all the money they gave out during the pandemic. Mm. And now we're living it. The chickens have come home. The roosts of fucking, as you were saying, it's now cheaper to make, pork chops at home than it is to buy 3 combo meals at McDonald's. I mean, literally, if you go to McDonald's and buy 3, I went to Chick-fil-A tonight on the way home because I worked late and we had a podcast. 3 combo meals before and the reason I went to Chick-fil-A is I had a $10 gift certificate that Carrie got from one of her students at the end of the year. $34 before I gave them my gift certificate. Talking roughly $11 for a chicken sandwich, a French fry, and a drink.
I can outdo that. Went to Chipotle last week.
That's a mistake.
2 bowls, a cup of queso, and a bag of chips was $42.
How was your portion sizes?
Oh, they were good. They hooked me up.
Now they did.
I can't complain.
Well, the reason I asked, I know you're not on TikTok, but for like the last month and a half, people have been going on TikTok talking about how the portion sizes have gotten insanely small. And they've been showing video of them like putting half a scoop of meat and they ask for more and they're like, no. And so people started this trend, film it. If you're not getting the portion sizes that you feel, just walk out. And so many people are doing this now that Chipotle's on full damage control. We give you plenty of protein. And now the word on the street from the Chipotle employees is word came down from corporate. If anybody walks into the phone recording, just fucking fill the fuckers up. So now they're like trying to reverse course. We go to Einstein Bagel maybe once a month. Saturday we wake up, we're going to go fishing or something. Let's go get a bagel. This weekend I got my BLT, pulled out the car. I'm like, the circumference of the bagel feels smaller. Price is the same. I'm like, I'm either crazy or they're using less dough to make their bagels. And I eat mine in the car because it's the BLT. And look, if I'm out driving to pick up the food, I'm not going to wait to get home and eat my shit cold. The people at home can eat their shit cold. I get home, Carrie gets out her bagel. I said, does that feel smaller to you? She's like, yeah. I said, I think they're actually shrinkflation. I think they're maintaining the same price, but you're getting less bagel for your money. But it's so crazy. If you have to eat fast food and you got a family, and I'm not a big fan of this place, but I go there. Once again, if I go to McDonald's, get 3 combo meals, it's like $45 after taxes or something, especially if you supersize them or whatever. You were just saying 2 meals at Chipotle was $40. They have a great place down the street called Barbecue Burritos. It's a New Jersey place. Great food. You get 1 burrito. They sell tacos that come a pack of 3, and a quesadilla, $47 fucking dollars. You go to Steak and Shake, get 3 cheeseburger combos, $25. So we go to Steak and Shake quite a bit. But I bring all that up to say this.
I love Steak and Shake.
Oh, there you go. Head to Steak and Shake. It's a lot cheaper. Too Big to Fail. They're going to bring this back out. Dateline, May 1st, 2024. Why hundreds of United States banks may be at risk of failure. Again. Hundreds of small and regional banks across the United States are feeling stressed. Quote, you can see the banks you can see some banks either fail or at least, dip below their minimum capital requirements. Christoph Wolf, managing director and head of the North American banks at Fitch Rating, told CNBC. Consulting firm Klaus Group analyzed about 4,000 U.S. banks and found 282 banks faced the dual threat of commercial real estate loans and potential losses tied to higher interest rates. The majority of these banks are small lenders with less than $10 billion with a B in assets. Most of these banks aren't insolvent or even close to insolvent. They're just stressed. I can't read fucking today. Brian Graham, co-founder and partner of Klaus Group, told CNBC. That means there will be fewer bank failures, but it doesn't mean that communities and consumers won't get hurt by that stress. Graham noted that the communities will likely be affected in ways that are more subtle than closures or failures, but that the banks choosing not to invest in such things as branches, technical innovations, and new staff. But yeah, more and more banks, it's like they're like these small, not the Bank of Americas and the Fifth Thirds, but these smaller community banks, a lot of them might be, closing up or greatly reducing the amount of loans that they're handing out. Because everything's just so fucking crazy with the inflation and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really hope the interest rates come down soon. Something's got to give.
I hope so too, because we'd actually like to relocate in the next few years.
Where are you thinking?
And we're not going to be able to do Huntsville, Alabama.
That's awfully specific. Family there?
Yeah, the grandbabies are there. So,
what's the cost of living like in Huntsville, Alabama?
a little bit less than what it is here, but it's an up and coming market because that's where a lot of the SpaceX, Blue Origin, and the United States Army have their rocket headquarters. So a lot of people, moving in to support that.
Well, let's do a little comparison here. Because we know Southwest Florida is insane, our cost of living.
Oh my gosh. But Naples is the best place to live according to US News and World Report.
So cost of living in Fort Myers, Florida. The Fort Myers, Florida cost of living is 9% higher than national average. The cost of living in the area can vary based on factors such as career, blah, blah, blah. So, calculated cost of living, annual salary, $50,000. You're going to be broke as shit. Let's see here. Medium home prices. Let's see. Look at housing, utilities, and transportation. Fort Myers housing expenses are 18% higher than the national average, and the utility prices are 3% higher than the national average. Transportation expenses like buses, which no one rides buses down here. The medium home price down here is $531,626. They're way off. They got $1,600 a month on rent. I think rent's closer to $25 down here. Energy bills $182. Wow. Phone bills $1.96. Gas $3.66. Price of milk $2.26. Doctor's visit $130. Dentist, I got $112. Eye appointment, they got $122. I've paid like $90 for mine. So anyhow, compared that to Huntsville, so we talked about 9% higher. Huntsville, Alabama cost of living is 8% lower. So if you take the 9% higher and that 8% lower, you're looking at about savings of about 18%. Huntsville, Alabama cost is 8% lower than the national average cost of living in the area, yada, yada, yada. Okay, here you go. So let's say hypothetically you sold your house here. They're saying the average is $531,000. The average home in Huntsville is $333,000. So hypothetically, and if you only sold yours for $400 and something, you could probably, stash some of that money after you bought a house down there. Energy bill, you're only saying about $10 a month. Phone bill, yeah, it looks like everything's roughly about $10. Your phone bill's $10 a month less. Gas is actually $3.10, so you save quite a bit on gas on your old burner there.
My old diesel truck, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it looks like if you were to move now, you're looking 4 or 5 years when you go, it'll be higher because all the technology sectors that's coming in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the tech sectors coming in there. Got anything on your list of shit there, fella?
Yeah. Let's talk about another part of my childhood that's going to die. We'll talk about the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese.
I thought they were already
growing
gone.
up. No, they're still there till I think sometime in July. So, but what they're doing is they're removing all of the animatronic, displays from their pizza joints, and they're going to replace it with trampoline floors, video screens, and something else, dance floors or something. But yeah, I saw that and I got a little sad, because one of the happy moments in my childhood, which was rather unhappy, was actually getting to go to Chuck E. Cheese and escape for a little bit. And then got to take my kids there, so that was pretty cool. And I think if everything goes to plan, I'll be in Alabama next month with my grandson. We're going to go there before they tear everything out. So
I mean, it makes sense. I doubt creepy puppets that pretend to move or anything exciting to the generation who has AI generated cartoons and photographs and VR headset goggles and a high-end tablet.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I just I hope at least one set of them ends up somewhere, for a nostalgia thing, like for old guys like me.
I wonder how much Five Nights at Freddy's, the video game and movie, had to do with the final nail in that coffin.
Well, anything's possible, I suppose, but
Who had the creepier animatronics? And I know they were loosely related because they were business partners originally, but Chuck E. Cheese or Showtime Pizza?
well, that's the thing. I didn't have a Showtime pizza where I was. We just had Chuck E. Cheese, so I'm not sure how creepy Showtime was, but
I think Showtime Pizza probably, in comparison, would win now just because they went out of business so long ago. So technology on the Chuck E. Cheese's newer puppets probably look less creepy versus the technology on the puppets back then. I mean, just like if you were to look at just a stuffed toy dog from like 1960, 1970 versus the stuff they're getting at Build-A-Bear. The dolls back then probably look a little creepy to a modern day kid. Like if you went and gave them your great grandfather's
well,
stuffed dog, or definitely the porcelain dolls. My grandmother collected porcelain dolls,
oh
and
boy.
they had rooms upon rooms
Oh
of them,
no.
and they were the creepiest
No, no,
goddamn
no.
things ever.
But could you imagine putting Teddy Ruxpin up against a Build-A-Bear?
The two things I wanted as a
I
poor
mean,
youth that was way out of my family's budget: Teddy Ruxpin and My Pet Monster. That's all I wanted as a kid.
okay.
Both of those are way out of our price range. I remember later in life I got a My Pet Monster pet, the smaller little the puppet dog, which was cheaper than the My Pet Monster. But the Teddy Ruxpin, that was cutting edge technology. For you guys who
Oh yeah.
don't know what we're talking about, Teddy Ruxpin was about a 16-inch tall teddy bear. Had a tape cassette in its back. You pop the tape in, and it came with books. And this was like basically the precursor to the leapfrog for those you born in the 2000s. His eyes would open like the animatronic teddy bear, and he would read you these books. His mouth would move, and his eyes would look around, and he would read you this book. And in 1979, 1982, this is like cutting edge technology. When did Teddy Ruxpin come out? Teddy Ruxpin.
I don't know, but if you put like uh Black Sabbath cassette or something in the back of him, it got really interesting.
Teddy Ruxpin. He's made a comeback, but he's not the same doll. He don't look the same at all. 1985 Teddy Ruxpin vintage doll. I can get one on eBay right now for 20 bills. I don't know if he works or
Ooh.
not. I can get a Teddy Ruxpin cheaper than a goddamn combo at McDonald's. Yeah, Teddy Ruxpin was like the great grandfather to the Tickle Me Elmo.
Have you ever seen any of the videos of Tickle Me Elmo without the fur on?
Yeah, creepy.
That's the stuff of nightmares right there.
There's a guy on YouTube he has a channel called Kentucky Ballistics. It's a firearm channel, and he's about my age, a little bit older. But in Kentucky, around 19, I know they're big everywhere, and I don't know if they're this big, but like 1999, 98, 2000, for whatever reason. Speaking of creepy fucking toys, Furbies were a huge thing. For everybody wanted a fucking
No.
Furby.
Oh yeah.
Adults, everybody, every trailer in Kentucky had a Furby in it. To this day, on Kentucky Ballistics, he's constantly shooting Furbies. He's just Furbies are like his gremlins. He's constantly shooting Furbies and shooting the skin off of them and shit and catching them on fire. But yeah, Furbies.
Oh, that's probably the best thing you could have happen to one of those.
Furbies were kind of cutting edge, goofy technology too, just because they had the infrared and they would
Yeah.
talk to each other when you put them face to face. But it was just like gibberish and tomfoolery. I had one. I think it died at some point. Speaking of Gen X toys, remember Monchi-Chis?
Yeah.
The little monkeys that sucked their thumbs?
Yep.
You had Monchi-Chis, you had Pound Puppies, Shirt Tails.
Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah, Garbage Pail Kids, which they're trying to
Oh
bring those
yeah.
back, but they're kind of watered down for the new era kids.
Well, haven't they tried that 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, and they had the horrible movie in the 80s.
Well, pretty much most movies from the 80s were horrible.
Don't talk bad about killer clowns from outer space. Holy hell. Dude, you're out of your goddamn mind. No one's going to buy those. The complete set. So let's say you were going on eBay and you for some reason want to relive your childhood. Series 1, 82 cards, near mint condition, in a binder. Garbage Pail Kids. What would you pay or what would you sell yours for? What do you think the going rate is on the full series of Series 1, all 82 cards, near mint condition? What do you think the going rate is?
$1,200.
How much?
1,200.
Let's see here. I've been in the VA hospital and decided life is too short not to sell any of the items at a better price. This auction for the Garbage Pail Kids Series 1, 82 card set, near mint, no touched cards. If you want any cards close up, please contact me. I will photo these for you. I started collecting this set 20 years and improved every card to get this set as perfect as possible. So basically he kept buying the same card so he found a better one. This is an active auction. Dude has 100% positive review, rating of 11,590. He's asking if you got an income tax check coming in February, maybe this will probably still be around, or maybe been sitting on rainy day real estate money. $6,499.95, or mind you, best offer. I should offer him $50. See what he comes back at. $500 for some Garbage Pail Kids. Well, here's another one. Complete set, 1985, 1988. Garbage Pail Kids. Series 1 to 15. Okay. So now here you can get Series 1 up to 15. Right. He's only asking 5,880. So you're getting 15 sets of cards for the same price as the old boy wants for his original set.
Incredible.
Complete 1985 Topps Garbage. I didn't know Topps put those out. I guess that makes sense. First series, 1 sticker card set, GPK, OSI Mint, 3,200. So we're getting cheaper. If you dig, you really want them. We're getting cheaper. That's insane.
I don't know. I didn't even want to buy them when they were like $1 a pack or whatever they were.
Well, we thought $6,000 was crazy. Here's one for one card. One card, Atom Bomber Air card. That's the one where his head's exploding when he's pushing a little red button.
Okay.
This is very rare. I remember seeing these all over the place. Oh, I'm sorry. Where's he out of? It says US $1,000. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, starting bid $1,000. Buy it now is $1,800. You're out of your goddamn mind.
No doubt.
I think I'll go with my overpriced Teddy Ruxpin for $30.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, that's kind of a good topic. I learned this when my stepmom passed away. She used to collect lighthouses. And we were talking about my grandmother collect porcelain dolls. I collect all this World War II stuff. At what point, you know, we hear the saying, well, you can't take it with you. I think it makes sense to start selling the shit when you get older, because if you just pass away unexpectedly, things go from collection to a burden real quick. Especially when it comes to things like porcelain dolls. My mom, my aunts, they had no... And this was in the mid-2000s when my grandmother passed away. And at that time, it's basically you either took it to a flea market or you spent a full-time job taking photos and descriptions and research and putting this shit on eBay. I think most of the stuff just ends up either just in the trash or like buried in someone's barn somewhere. Like my dad had no idea what to do with like 13 freaking Tupperware containers of little miniature lighthouses. You know, this World War.
And my buddy just went through that. His mom collected Hummel figurines, and I mean like hundreds and hundreds of these things. He's like, I don't know what to do with them.
What
So
are
he
they?
called a guy. What's that?
Did you say Elmo figurines?
Hummel.
Oh,
It's
Hummel.
yeah, like I don't know, it's like porcelain stuff. But he actually called a guy, like an estate buyer, who just came in and bought all the stuff.
Bulk sale.
And yeah, might have lost money, might have made money, who knows? But he didn't have to deal with it. The guy came in and took all the stuff out. But I mean, her whole house was just packed full of the stuff.
What's the old joke? My biggest fear is I'll die. My wife will sell my stuff for what I told her I paid for it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I have a lot of reproduction stuff, but as I look around my podcast studio, like I'm looking right now, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I know I have more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know there's another one right here. I got 5 M1 helmets. I got an original Marine Corps pith helmet from Holly. I have a civilian guard pith helmet. I'm looking at, you know, original canteens and that stuff. I got original May West vest from paratroopers. I got original life vest from D-Day. You know, all this stuff. I mean, if you sold it, if you knew who to sell it to, you can make quite a bit of money. But if I were to up and die tomorrow, you know, I'd have some reenactor buddies come down here and probably get it for a song. But like if someone was just trying to sell the stuff, they'd either sell it for way too less or post it for way too much and then not sell. I was on Facebook Marketplace. Someone was trying to sell like a 1980s era M1 helmet for like rusted out for like $150. And I sent them a message like, just so you know, those things go all day long for $60 on eBay without the liner, you know, or with the liner. And so sometimes people just,
Yeah.
but the good news about historical stuff like what I have is it either maintains its value or goes up. As we learned, you know, Beanie Babies completely lost their value.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what sort of value, and the more niche stuff is, the harder it is to get rid of. World War II stuff, probably more easy to get rid of versus figurines of lighthouses or porcelain dolls or train tracks. You know, train sets have some money in it too, but that's still, it's widespread, but it's still niche. Still a niche
Well,
thing.
it's like the meme on Facebook. It says, you know, by the time you're 40, you either have to be into World War II
or smoking meat.
or smoking meat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you, you know, if you did decide you wanted to get out of it ever, you'd probably do okay.
Tomorrow's the 80th anniversary of D-Day, and like all my social media content, everything I look at is just World War II, and we're talking on What's the Scuttlebutt. My co-host is over in Greece right now with his chaperoning his school, and he's over there at a museum. But my other co-host,
I saw the little promo where he's standing next to the tank.
Yep, in Greece.
That was pretty cool.
But Dennis is still in Texas, and I'm in Florida. I'm like, man, I said, you know, I'm going online. I'm seeing, you know, the guys from We Have Ways podcast. Of course, they live over in Europe. They're there. You know, all these people we've had on our podcast who were into the hobby, they're all over in France right now. I'm stuck here in Florida. He's in Texas, and it's like, talk about fear of missing out. I'm definitely experiencing FOMO right now. It's like, how awesome would that? I said, now of course we could sit here, but Elite's like, yeah, we don't want to go to France on the 80th anniversary when all these armchair historians and these, you know, what's the baseball term when they call it fair weather fans are there? No, you want to go on and off. I said, that'd be a lie. We want to be there right now with every one of them, but you know, it is what it is.
I'm not even a real, well, I mean, I'm a history buff, but you know, I'm more interested in Vietnam era type stuff than I am World War II.
That's
But
a thing now. I have friends who double dip, and of course one of them's 65, and so they do World War II stuff, and there's Vietnam reenactors because their parents were in Vietnam. You know, their brothers were in Vietnam, and it's crazy because what it tends to happen is either the children or the grandchildren of the generation. Like there's kids now who are starting to put together Gulf War impressions. So yeah, for a long time you had Civil War reenactment, World War II reenactments. Now people doing Vietnam. Some of the younger kids are starting to put Gulf War stuff together. So it just that
And I
timeline
got
keeps
rid of all
shifting.
my stuff. I should have kept it. Damn it.
Yep, there would have been a premium for it. When I worked at Stan and Haney, someone called and said, "Hey, I got a Iraqi Gulf War helmet. Do you want it?" It's like my brother-in-law brought it back and said it has no sentimental value. He was like, "No," he gave it to me. It's the craziest thing ever. The thing is based off of the M1 helmet liner. It's just a lot thicker. The Iraqi ballistic helmet looks exactly to an M1 helmet liner, but it's like half an inch thick. It's like crazy. But yeah, there's stuff. There's collection for all that stuff now. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I have such a freaking headache right now. I don't know why.
You've been drinking water?
Yeah, water and coffee. So I was at the boat ramp. I think it was this weekend. Yeah, pulled it. We went out Saturday, and I've had videos before, and I'm wanting a few experiences. I'm seeing it more and more. I was surprised. The first 3 times I've seen this, it's kids in their 20s, narcissists. They think the world revolves around them. But this last week, it was
So
a guy.
was this the cat in the Dodge that you posted the other day?
Yeah, pulled up Lake Mead, see a boat taking off. There's an old Dodge parked in the boat ramp, trailer in the water. Like, motherfucker. He comes back down, and we're like, what the fuck? Pulls down, turns around. I'm like, yo, it's a boat ramp, not a parking lot. Of course, they don't speak English. They get the gist. They come and hop out and pull the trailer. And I see when the weight came by, I see one of the boards starting to lift on their trailer. So apparently their whole thing was they came to get their boat off the trailer and then work on the trailer. But with that being said, you can't work on the trailer when it's under fucking water. So put your boat in, pull the trailer out, go park the trailer, go have fun on your boat for 2 hours, then come back, fix your trailer, put your boat on. Have you experienced that yet? It's the 3rd time it happened to me. One time, Carrie and I we pulled up. This is over at Seahawk, where they have the RC runway. There's a boat ramp.
Okay.
The one that happened to him this weekend is just a single lane boat ramp. The one at Seahawk is 2-lane. Truck parked in there, trailer in water. We pull in and we're offloading our jet ski. Our kayaks. Here comes a guy in a bass boat. He just sees it and he parks the bass boat and shaking his head. I said, we'll be out of here in a minute. I don't have a trailer. I'm just backing my Tundra down and there wasn't enough room for him to back his trailer down and get in there. And we see the jet skiers out there. 2 guys, 1 jet ski. 2 girls, 1 cup. 2 guys, 1 jet ski. No life jackets. No life jackets. So one of them's riding bitch on the back. Young cats. And they pull up, and so Carrie's already down, and I'm talking to this guy. And they pull up, and we're looking at them, and the guy with the bass boat's like, yo, what the hell? And they're ignoring us. And so these guys really got an attitude. They put their jet ski on the trailer, and they go put all their stuff away, and then they come out and just lean up against the back of the truck and talk. And then finally, the guy, he was probably, I don't know, he's probably in his late 60s or early 70s. I think he was ex-military. He finally said, are you going to move that fucking piece of shit or what? And then they got all indignant like, well, we were until you started talking to us like shit. The guy's like, A, you fucking parked in a boat ramp. B, you put your jet ski in the trailer, and you've been standing here for 15 minutes. Well, we're going to stay here now. He looked at me and said, you know what? It is a nice fucking day. He started walking the boat ramp. He's like, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to back my fucking trailer, park it across this fucking ramp, and I'm going to go out fishing for another fucking 3 hours. Then those guys got in their fucking truck and left real fucking quick. But it's like, I don't get when you do something like parking in a boat ramp and someone points out the fact that you're an asshole and now you're indignant about it. It's like, I don't get it. It's like a
back when I owned an actual boat up in Oregon, there was boat ramp etiquette and people just followed it. I mean, there were drunk assholes that, had no business being boating. but it was just their inability to back a trailer or put a boat on it that was the problem. It wasn't like they weren't trying to get loaded and get out of the way.
Well,
So,
well, there was social etiquette, and I think social etiquette has definitely died. I'm trying to think of how the layout was. I'm going to get some of the details wrong because I forgot about it, but I was somewhere, and I think I talked about this. Where something I was somewhere, and I pulled up in line, and there's a guy sitting there, and I positioned my car. And what the hell was it? I'm trying to think of the details. Long story short, there was a guy who's sitting there before me, and I pulled up. And here's what it was. I went to the oil change place. Right, you got two bays, and I pull up, and the bay on the left's empty, and there's a car in front of me in the bay, and there's a bay on the right, car in front in the bay, and there's a guy sitting in line in the bay on the right. So you got both bays full. Guy was sitting on the bay on the right, waiting in line. When I pulled up, I pulled him to the left bay because it was. So now there's both bays are full, then both of us are in line. The car in front of me pulls out, and the oil technician puts his hand up, and he walks over and starts talking to the guy next to me. And I roll down my window, and the guy next to me is like, "No, no." I said, "Hey, I can back up. You can go ahead." He's like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "You were here before I was." He's like, "Oh, thanks, man." I said, "No, that's how it's supposed to be. You were in line. I came up. They got done first. Social etiquette says I backed the fuck out and let you go because you were sitting here before I got here. That's the way life works." But nowadays, everybody's out the old saying, "Fuck the other guy before you get fucked." I think that has gone way too far, and I think 92% of the people who told that guy to suck a dick, "Suck to be you. I'm going on in." No. He was there first. You backed the fuck out, let him in, and then we basically just switched spots. And so the next guy came, pulled in where I was, and then it's just I don't understand why everything has to be so difficult. And it's like, what happened to social decorum? I don't get it. I don't understand why everything has to be like just so shitty and ugly nowadays. It's so weird.
well, and I think a lot of that comes from my generation. They called the 80s the me decade. And I think a lot of us came up with the, the belief that, the world revolves around us. And then we had kids and brought our kids up. I mean, we're the reason that participation trophies are what they are.
You are, I'm
You
not,
know,
but yes. I'm 10 years younger
what's
than you.
that?
I said it's your generation. Yeah, it's not mine. I'm 10 years younger than you, but yeah. Because
Well, I
the
mean,
reason I say that is the news story started coming out about elementary school kids and participation trophies right like 2 years after I graduated. Now, granted, I did have a kid at
yeah,
17, but it was your generation who's 10 years older than
sure.
me that already had,
Yeah.
5-year-olds getting into school and 6-year-olds.
Well, and a lot of it is a generational thing, and I think why we've gotten so soft is you go back to my grandparents' generation where they came out of the depression and they had it hard. I mean, they had it bad, so they wanted to make sure that their kids had everything they didn't have. So then you've got uh the I don't know what's before me, my parents. Um, they decided that
Baby boomers.
well, I had it pretty rough. Yeah, the boomers. Okay. So they had it pretty rough, even though they really didn't. But they, worked to give us everything that we didn't have. And then a lot of us grew up as latchkey kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we're like, hey, we want to make sure that our kids have everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, so now we've created this generation of spoiled little bastards that just,
Honestly, I
it's like
think a lot of
everything revolves around me.
I think it has a lot to do with social media, and here's why I say that. Because growing up in the 90s, Nike had that campaign of "It's your world," it's your world, everybody else is living in it, and Mountain Dew had their thing. But we're not portraying that in existence. I mean, yes, there's some people in our generation who do, but I think a majority of us are still opening doors for people, still being courteous to
Yeah.
people. Whereas the newer generations, those who grew up even if they were in middle school when technology came around. And I use this hypothesis for the reason people don't use turn signals now. And that's because everybody's a narcissist. And you're like, well, wait a minute, Don, if they're narcissists, they want people to know what they're doing so they would use their turn signals. Nay, they're a new level narcissist. They're the tech level of narcissists, and that is they want to reveal to everybody what they're going to do, right? Everybody's waiting for the big reveal. So I'm not going to turn my turn signal on so that I can let everybody around me know what my plans are so they can accommodate me so they don't wreck into me or I don't wreck into them. No, everybody's waiting for the big reveal. Is he going to turn right? Is he going to turn left? Is he going to go straight? Surprise, motherfucker, I'm doing a U-turn. I truly think people just... Look, I would get it if you're poor and you had like bend down and touch two wires to get your fucking turn signal to initiate. But no, you have to go click. And nobody. I mean, we want to talk about how people don't know how to drive standards anymore. No, motherfuckers can't go click. It's insane to me. And you drive for a living. You see it as much as I do. And it's even people our own age. It's like literally nobody uses turn signals anymore. I don't fucking get it. I don't know why. I feel like such a raging old man. Turn on your turn signals, god damn it. Hey, get off the lawn. I don't fucking get it. Especially as a runner, we've talked about this.
Signal, jackass.
Turn on. Hey, you damn kids, get off the lawn and use your turn signals and cut your hair, you fucking hippies. I don't get it. It just I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Oh my gosh.
I've never been happier to be born in the 70s than I am now. It's like every day. We were kind of talking about last week where we were talking about, I said for me, I feel like the American dream is dead. And I was talking about automation. And I was saying about my brother, and I haven't asked him about this yet because I don't want to, get him freaked out. But my brother's job is he writes up quotes for construction jobs and bids for a living.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need to do to write up an authentic quote? You have to have knowledge in a subject. You got to have knowledge on current prices. You got to have knowledge on labor. All of that stuff can easily be replaced with AI and quicker, right? Now, instead of it taking 6 weeks to write up a quote, you can have a bid out in fucking 10 minutes. All you'd have to do is instead of paying someone $90,000 a year who has knowledge, you pay someone $45,000 a year who's really good and really accurate at data entry, right? So we need a bid. Okay, you're going to put in the square footage of the building into this automated system. You're going to put in the materials needed. It's automatically going to go on the internet within 0.3 milliseconds and get all the current prices, right? You put in how many personnel you have on staff, so it'll automatically include the labor costs real fucking quick. But furthermore, if you think about it, this AI could say, okay, we're in Nevada. This job is going to be bid sometime in August. Studies show that the human labor force actually works 28% less efficient in these hot weather, and so it would give you a more accurate reading on fucking labor costs and how long it would take to do the job. And you could I can guarantee you, and they'll start doing this in the next probably 2 to 3 years, you can get these huge multi-million-dollar bids out as soon as that person making $40,000 a year types in, we need 138 Cat 5 drops, or we need, 15 toilets, 4 sinks, or 50, whatever the X amount is, puts in the material needed, how many laborers you currently have in your workforce, and say, okay, write a bid at this percent, a markup, this percent markup. You can have 3 bids out in fucking 2 minutes instead of a human taking 6 weeks to make sure they have everything right. And then rebids will be done real quick. Oh, change order came in. They need 83 toilets. 83. Generate. And there's so many jobs like that you truly, in order for him to do it, he's certified. He's actually a, licensed electrician. He has the knowledge of the technology. He knows what needs, what type of cable, what type of boxes, all that shit. But AI can know that shit too. And so all you need
I suppose to a degree, but there's always variables that, a human can compensate for that AI might not, because AI is gigo. I mean, it's just as good as whatever you put in there.
But AI is actually
So,
learning on its own, though. That's the thing. This isn't just a computer
well,
program. This shit's
right,
learning on its
but
own.
well, and I suppose that's true, but you're still going to need a human that measures, a human that does calculations.
Do you
I
though?
don't I
Because
don't
you have the human engineer who wrote the floor plans. All you got to do is input the floor plans, the blueprints. All the measurements are there, and it's going to be exact. You have the exact measurements from the blueprints. And I guess maybe the reason it concerns me is I'm in the industry. My boss just gave a speech in Orlando, Texas, and like has 3 more this year on AI. Did you know there's already large corporations who human resources are using AI to conduct interviews and to hire people because it has the ability to do background searches on people instantaneously? Because I mean, there's already people, human resources that an applicant comes in, they're manually going out on Facebook, they're manually and checking for problematic tweets from fucking 5 years ago, and all that takes time. They're actually large corporations, human resources are already incorporating AI for the hiring process. It's already happening. It's
sure, and I don't doubt that, but I don't know. I mean, can they completely replace a human resources director with AI?
to I would say 55% of the work. Yeah, probably.
I mean, it seems to me though that anybody who has the knowledge is going to be okay at least for a little while
Yeah, for a little while,
because
like
first of
3 years.
all, the programs aren't perfect, and like me, AI right now can't do what I do.
No, because you're physically
So
doing something. You're and look,
sure.
I'm a guy who
So
repairs computer. I'm a guy who fixes network and computer problems. I'm already going on ChatGPT saying, "Hey, what's the PowerShell command to map a printer remotely?" And it tells me exactly what to do. Probably within 3 years, there will be a system to automate that. And me, with my 20 years of computer knowledge, my job's probably be on the line. Once they get the software to actually, once you provide access to the network to the software, my knowledge, all the 20 years of knowledge that I have can easily be automated through software. And I could easily be out of a job in 3 years because it's and that is, and when they talk to people, well, what's going to be the solution? We're going to have, mandatory medium income that the government's going to pay. How? We don't have the fucking money. And so, yeah, it's just, I don't know. To me, it's concerning.
yeah, I mean, I don't doubt it. I mean, there's a lot of people out there where their engineering degrees and stuff like that will become as worthless as an underwater basket weaving degree.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, writing up.
which is just, more of a reason why college is becoming less and less necessary as we go along, because there's going to be more need for welders and truck drivers
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like
Well, not
that.
the truck
Right?
drivers. They're going to have and they're already test driving them. They've got people sitting in the passenger seat, but they're already test driving the fucking self-driving semi-trucks.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Maximum Overdrive?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So how did that work out? Um,
Well, to be fair, that was caused by a
to
meteorite.
be fair, yeah, but I mean, okay, so I mean, let's get down to it. I mean, Skynet, you
Mm-hmm.
know, all of this stuff. I mean, is foreshadowing of, you know,
Yeah.
technology
M-
being, kind of dangerous.
more nowadays, more realistic than that is the Matrix. What was the
Okay.
root? What was the root? The root storyline behind the Matrix was, and the crazy thing was to me is the Matrix didn't seem too crazy because before that movie came out, the History Channel put out a show on Uploading in 1996 that I recorded on my VCR because it had a lot of cutting edge graphics back in the day. Now they're about as fucking cutting edge as a Windows 2000 screensaver, but they had a lot of cool spirals and all that. And I put music over, and then I would, and then sit there in my room and just watch it all night with my black light on. But the show this came out in like 1996, 1997-ish. No, I graduated in 97, so it's been 95, 96. And the theory on the show, and this was before The Matrix ever came out, was that even back then, computer programmers were trying to create an exact replica of the Earth in computers. And according to this show, we all know how Discovery shows are fucking wrong now. But back then, according to the show...
Well, like The Sims?
Kind of. According to science, an exact replica is the real thing. And they're talking about how our brain waves and all that work off electricity, and there were people volunteering to be, quote-unquote, uploaded into these computer drives before they died. And so, 6 years later, The Matrix came out, and that was the same thing, except for you weren't dead. You were just stuck in these pods. The robots were using the human body as a source of energy because of the nuclear bomb that blocked out the sunlight. But in The Matrix, you were plugged in, but your brainwave was in a hard drive, and you lived, as you just said, in a virtual reality, but to you it was actual reality. And so people are like, well, I don't understand how Neo could do all that crazy thing. Well, because once they realized that they were in a computer, and you're a computer programmer, it would be the same thing as if you were a computer programmer who could code fast enough in real time while playing Call of Duty. You can make your avatar do whatever the fuck you want. So in that movie, when he's bending bullets, he's not doing that in reality. He's writing code in real time so that his avatar is doing all that crazy, silly shit. And so that was the basics of it. And to your point, AI. And do you ever listen to Joe Rogan podcast?
I have a few times, but I don't regularly.
There's some fun hypotheses coming out now. Boy, howdy. Here's a fun one, and I know we're running a little late. And this one that Tucker Carlson alluded to. He didn't flat out say it, but he alluded to it. Take what we know about religion. All religions throughout the planet, they all have a lot of similarities. Good versus evil, devils versus angels, yada, 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 right? Here's a fun hypothesis. We all know that our bodies contain a soul, and that when we die, hypothetically, our soul leaves our body, we go to heaven, and we live in another realm, correct? And we also know that in the pyramids, they have these hieroglyphs showing things that look like light bulbs and aliens and all that stuff. And if you watch some of those old shows, they're saying that these hallways in the bottom of these basements are so far down there that there's no way they could have had torches because they would have died of fucking carbon monoxide because they're down deep in these tunnels without open air, and there's no way they could have had fire to produce light. And so some people believe that there's electricity around, yada, yada, yada. Here's some of the crazy hypotheses. Not saying this is true. This is just crazy nonsense. There's a working theory that angels do exist. And you have good angels, and obviously you have bad angels. But they're a form of a technological being, correct? And that the whole purpose of humanity on the great timeline, because if you're a technological being, the human timeline of 100,000, 100 million years is a fucking blip. And that through evolution, the whole purpose of human evolution is the planets get to a point where we generate new AI, which then generates new life. And that when we die, our spirits are actually going to power these new electrical sources. That's how crazy this shit's going. And so that, yes, angels really do exist. They're not aliens. They're these special beings from out in the fucking multiverse or whatever. So yeah, there's all kinds of crazy hypotheses floating around now that we have this new technology. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that a lot of people that come up with this are much like you were, watching the swirls while, token out.
Yeah.
But
well, a lot of people.
I did hear a story a couple of weeks ago. I don't have the source material to back it up, but there's a guy who's actually creating an AI version of himself. He has terminal cancer, and he's basically setting it up to where, basically his kids will be able to say, "Hey, Dad," and it'll be like, tripping your smart device at home, and it will basically have the uh, the whole of his knowledge, and it'll be like an AI version of him teaching his kids everything that they need to know that he isn't around to teach them anymore.
Michael Bulmer. Well, of course, this comes out of Germany. Berlin AP. When Michael Bulmer found out that he was terminally ill with colon cancer, he spent a lot of his time with his wife, Annette, talking about what would happen after his death. She told him one of the things that she had missed most is being able to ask him questions whenever she wanted because he is so well read and always shares his wisdom. Bulmer recalled during a recent interview with the Associated Press at his home in the Berlin suburbs. That conversation sparked an idea for Bulmer, recreated his voice using artificial intelligence to survive him after he passes away. The 61-year-old startup entrepreneur teamed up with his friend in the United States, Robert Lacosta, CEO of AI-powered legacy platform Ethernos. Within 2 months, they built a comprehensive interactive AI version of Bulmer, the company's first such client. Ethernos, which got its name from the Italian and Latin word of eternal, says its technology will allow Bulmer's family to engage with his life experiences and insights long after he's gone. So yeah, people are using it. Crazy.
So the interesting thing about that is I'm trying to find when it came out. There was a movie back in the 80s or early 90s called My Life with Michael Keaton.
Okay.
And he figures out that he's dying of cancer. So he takes his camcorder and he tapes everything that he can possibly think of that his unborn son will need to know. Like how to shave, you shave up, you shave down, you don't shave across kind of thing. And it's just this whole really super depressing movie about how this guy knows he's going to die before his kid's born and what to do about it. So I guess that would be like the 80s version of what this guy's doing.
Yeah, and a lot of people actually did do that in the 80s and 90s where they would record themselves and play this on your 5th birthday, play this video on your 8th birthday and all that. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's something people had done for quite a while. We want to thank each and every one of you for hanging out with us for another episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. I'm sure Mike will be back next week. As Morgan hinted around earlier, we want to invite you to go like and subscribe to our Patreon page. We're going to start posting more exclusive content, and Jeff from the What's the Skull Up podcast is in Greece, and he's filming some exclusive content now. As I was saying on this week's episode of the What's the Skull Up podcast, we do not, I still can't think of the word that I want to use. We don't have favoritism in our Patreon page, meaning, oh, well, you're a $7.50 a month person. You get access to this video, these things, and you only pay $1. So no, regardless of how much you pay, you get access to all the same things with one caveat only. And that is if you're a $7.50 a month person after the third month, you do get a free t-shirt or a merch item of the equivalent value, whether it's a hat or whatever from our merch shop. And that's just a thank you for paying $7.50 a month. But as far as the exclusive content goes, the stickers, the prize giveaways, it doesn't matter how much you pay, what tier you are. When we have a giveaway and everybody's name goes in the bucket, everybody's name goes in the bucket as long as you have an active paid subscription. So please head over to what'sinyourhead.com or d-410.com. Sign up and subscribe. It's $1 a month. It goes a long way to support what we're doing here. Shout out to Mike from the What's in Your Head podcast and Dennis Blocker from the What's the Scuttlebutt podcast. They both have helped me take on some responsibility here, and that is I have a lot of content. Every time we record these audio versions, I record a video content too, but with everything else I got going on in my life, I don't have enough time in the day to edit all the stuff. And so now Mike has taken it upon himself to edit the video content of the What's in Your Head podcast so we can start putting that on YouTube and editing them down into multiple clips instead of having one long 2-hour show just because, well, YouTube doesn't push 2-hour content. They're trying to compete with TikTok, so they push short form content. So instead of pushing a 2-hour long video that no one's going to watch, we're going to chop it up in increments and use it as a way to get people to come learn about the audio version and download it through the apps. And so we got that going on. We've been posting more content on their YouTube channel. Just posted a cool video of, it wasn't even a video I planned on. I just drove out to Matlacha one day, took the drone out, And we did a quick, here's what Matt Lachey looks like 2 years after the hurricane. And Carrie did the voiceover work on it. We're going to do more of that stuff until, Congress makes my drone illegal. And then I'll have to buy a new drone, apparently, because DJI is owned by China. And just like TikTok, they're getting rid of the DJI drones. I probably got about 6 months before this brand new drone I have is fucking a paperweight. But we'll deal with that then. So if you haven't done so, head over to youtube.com, look for D410 Media, or simply type in Digital 410. Like, subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing. Look, we're talking about how expensive the thing is. I get it if you don't want to add an extra monthly bill of $1 because of how expensive shit is. Go watch our YouTube. It's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. And that goes to help support what we do. But for myself, Morgan Long, and Mike, no use for a last name, thank you guys so much. And we will talk to you all next week.
This has been a Digital 410 production.